Today is Friday, February 10th. We'll tell you new information about that spy balloon shot down over the U.S. and why things got pretty tense on Capitol Hill over the whole ordeal. Plus, new promises from Southwest Airlines, this time under oath. How ChatGPT is being used in a popular dating app, and what makes this weekend's Super Bowl one for the history books. Those stories and much more next. Welcome to The Newsworthy. All the day's news in around 10 minutes. Fast, fair, fun, and on the go. I'm Erica Mandy. Thanks so much for being here. You ready? Let's do this. Well, the White House is starting to give more information about what it says was a Chinese spy balloon that flew over the U.S. The FBI has been analyzing the parts recovered since the balloon was shot down last weekend. And now the Biden administration says the balloon was part of a global surveillance fleet directed by the Chinese military. It was apparently equipped with solar panels, antennas, sensors, and other technology. The State Department says the balloon was likely able to detect and collect intelligence signals and other communications. At this point, officials say it doesn't look like the balloon gives China capabilities above and beyond what it already has from spy satellites. But President Biden says the balloon was in violation of international law since it was in American airspace. And now the U.S. is considering how to punish China over it. Still, China insists it was just a weather balloon that went off course and that the U.S. overreacted by shooting it down. Meanwhile, on Capitol Hill, lawmakers have been demanding answers from Biden administration officials about why they didn't get it down sooner. Hearings in both the House and the Senate were very tense yesterday. Pentagon officials defended themselves, saying the balloon wasn't considered a threat until it was actually over the U.S., and at that point, they wanted to wait until it was over water to shoot it down so no one would get hurt from the debris. But some lawmakers said that explanation isn't enough, either that they don't believe it or that they want to hear a better plan to make sure it doesn't happen again. Eventually, the House unanimously passed a resolution condemning China for the balloon. It seems the mission in Turkey and Syria has gone from rescue to recovery. Sadly, at this point, not a lot of earthquake survivors are still being found alive. And the death toll has topped 21,000, including at least a few Americans. The U.S. State Department announced it's sending $85 million in humanitarian aid on top of the hundreds of personnel sent to the disaster zone earlier this week. Several other countries have also provided money, crews, equipment, and more. And Turkey's president is promising to rebuild all of the thousands of homes that were destroyed within the year. Well, prosecutors are about to start reviewing a lot more criminal cases out of Memphis. It's the latest fallout involving the 5 ex-police officers charged with beating and killing Tyre Nichols. Now the local district attorney's office says it's going to review every case that was previously handled by those officers, whether they're closed or still pending. All 5 officers were members of a special crime-fighting force called Scorpion that's since been disbanded. When the unit was created back in 2021, it was supposed to combat violent crime. But since Tyre Nichols' death, many people have come forward saying they were stopped by Scorpion officers for minor, nonviolent offenses. So far, we haven't heard much from any of the ex-officers charged with murder. But some of their lawyers have said the videos that show their clients beating Nichols don't tell the whole story. To be continued. Southwest Airlines has a new software update going into effect today. And that's supposed to help the company avoid a meltdown like the one that happened over the holidays. At least that's what the airline's chief operating officer, Andrew Watterson, told lawmakers yesterday. He says the software patch is just the first in many upgrades the airline has planned. For example, it's also going to be addressing de-icing issues at airports that are prone to winter storms. Of course, the December meltdown went way beyond just the weather. A storm was the first problem, but then Southwest had trouble with the software it uses to pair pilots and flight attendants with flights. So tons of crews were out of place. Watterson apologized, saying he knows it caused a lot of anguish and stressful situations for a lot of people. And he said executives will receive smaller cash bonuses this year because of everything that happened. Still, some lawmakers told him it's become clear the airline industry needs more oversight, while others said they're against what they called unnecessary regulations, saying they would undermine decades of progress in air travel. By the way, the Transportation Department is also still investigating Southwest after that whole ordeal. Stay tuned. All right, we have more news still coming up, but first, this podcast is sponsored by Indeed. All right, fellow business owners, if you enjoy getting these news highlights quickly, then check out Indeed to get the highlights you need to hire well. With Indeed Instant Match, you can instantly receive a list of quality candidates whose resumes on Indeed match your job description. So if you're hiring, you need Indeed. Indeed is the hiring platform where you can attract, interview, and hire all in one place. Find top talent fast with Indeed's suite of powerful hiring tools like Indeed Instant Match, assessments, and virtual interviews. With Instant Match, as soon as you sponsor a post, you get a short list of quality candidates whose resumes on Indeed match your job description, and you can invite them to apply right away. In the minute I've been talking to you, 16 hires were made on Indeed, according to Indeed data worldwide. Indeed knows that finding people with the right skills makes all the difference when you are a hiring team of one. Visit Indeed.com/newsworthy to start hiring now. Just go to Indeed.com/newsworthy. Indeed.com/newsworthy. Terms and conditions apply. Cost per application pricing not available for everyone. Need to hire? You need Indeed. COVID-19 changed learning for a lot of kids. During the peak of the pandemic, millions dropped out of public schools. But it's not clear what happened to them all. Enrollment data from the Department of Education shows between 2019 and 2021, public school enrollment fell by about 1.2 million students. That accounts for those between kindergarten through 12th grade. And a Stanford University study published this week tried to figure out where they all went. In the jurisdictions studied, researchers found private school enrollment climbed 4% higher and homeschooling jumped by 30%. The overall school-age population dropped a bit too. But that's still not everyone. The study says more than a third of those who got out of public schools during the peak pandemic years still cannot be explained. And that's hundreds of thousands of students. Of course, there's a concern for those kids since it's not clear if they're being homeschooled off the books or if the kids are just skipping school altogether. Either way, it could mean a budgeting problem for public schools since every student also represents money from the city, state, and federal government. All right, so remember earlier this week, we told you about backlash over a proposal for high school athletes in Florida? The Florida High School Athletic Association was trying to decide whether to update the mandatory physical form to one that includes questions about girls' periods. While supporters felt it could have helped ensure the health of young athletes, some parents and activists said the questions were intrusive and they were worried about girls' privacy. Well, last night, the association decided to drop those kinds of questions. Instead, it adopted a form that asked students about their medical and emotional histories. And it decided those pages will be kept by a healthcare provider, parent, or guardian, not the school. Now, just one page will go to the school, and it will only verify if an athlete is fit to participate. Still, there are other states where girls do have to answer period questions, like in Texas. Heads up, there's another dangerous trend going around on TikTok. And now the app is starting to add some warnings. The trend is called death diving. Videos show people jumping from great heights and purposely belly flopping, or at least making it look like that. One particularly popular video shows a woman throwing herself off a wooden platform from 81 feet in the air. For reference, the highest Olympic diving board is only 33 feet. Reports have pointed out that extreme belly flops can actually cause internal injury. But these kinds of videos have hundreds of millions of views. Now, to be clear, death diving is actually an extreme sport in Norway, but most of those videos look like they're done by amateurs, whether they are or not. So TikTok is now putting a disclaimer up on a lot of the death dive videos that says the actions in this video are performed by professionals or supervised by professionals. Do not attempt. Still, the videos are up and gaining traction, and many of the comments are asking for the dives to get even more extreme. There's now a new way to incorporate artificial intelligence in your dating life. The dating app OkCupid just started testing a new category of match questions generated by ChatGPT. The people actually looking for dates are supposed to answer these AI-generated questions, and those answers are then used to help determine how compatible they might be with someone else and recommend matches. ChatGPT's questions are things like, what do you value most in a partner? And what's your favorite way to spend a weekend? And are you more of an introvert or an extrovert? Users have answered the questions more than 135,000 times so far. That said, OkCupid found using AI in other parts of the dating process might not be as widely embraced. It found 52% of users considered using AI on profile pictures a turnoff, and 34% said they'd break things off with someone who was using a chatbot to communicate. By the way, we are talking about a bunch of new dating trends in 2023 in our special edition Saturday episode coming out tomorrow, as well as the key things that keep long-term relationships thriving. So be sure to listen tomorrow ahead of Valentine's Day. We are now just 2 days away from Super Bowl 57. The Philadelphia Eagles are going up against my hometown team, the Kansas City Chiefs, and it's happening this Sunday. And the big game is making history in more ways than one. For example, it will feature 2 black starting quarterbacks for the first time in NFL history, with Jalen Hurts and Patrick Mahomes. Also, this is the first time 2 brothers will be playing against each other in a Super Bowl, since Travis Kelce is Kansas City's tight end and Jason Kelce is Philadelphia's center. This is expected to be a pretty good game, too. Each team entered the playoffs as the number 1 seed in their conference. The Eagles are considered the favorites, though most analysts agree it's a close call. The Super Bowl kicks off in Arizona at 3:30 Pacific time on Fox. Even if you're not a football fan, you still might want to tune in halfway through the Super Bowl. This year, Rihanna is headlining the halftime show, and she's promising a jam-packed performance. It will take a crew of 300 to 400 workers to assemble the stage in 8 minutes. There's the 13-minute concert said to feature some of Rihanna's biggest hits, plus some new songs. Then they have to take it apart just as quickly as it went up. Besides the halftime show, country music star Chris Stapleton will sing the national anthem, and R&B legend Babyface will perform America the Beautiful. About 200 million people are expected to tune in at some point on Sunday. That's it for the main news today, so now it's time for Feel Good Friday, when we bring you one extra feel-good or positive news story before the weekend. But first, a quick break for our sponsor. Do you know how much your subscriptions cost? According to Rocket Money, most Americans think they spend about $80 a month on subscriptions, when the actual total is closer to $200. So if you don't know exactly how much you're spending every month, you need Rocket Money. Rocket Money, formerly known as Truebill, is a personal finance app that finds and cancels your unwanted subscriptions, monitors your spending, and helps you lower your bills all in one place. Rocket Money will quickly and easily identify your subscriptions for you so you can stop paying for the ones you don't want. I know I forgot I was paying for a workout app, even though I had not taken a class with them for months. But as soon as I signed up for Rocket Money, I realized it, and I was able to cancel right then and there, along with a couple of others. I also appreciate that I can get an overview of everything going on with my accounts at any time, quickly and easily in one spot. So stop throwing your money away, cancel unwanted subscriptions, and manage your expenses the easy way by going to rocketmoney.com/newsworthy. That's rocketmoney.com/newsworthy. rocketmoney.com/newsworthy. Now back to Feel Good Friday. At one Washington, D.C. ice cream shop, everyone gets a scoop, even if they can't pay for it. Charles Foreman opened up every day Sunday in 2021 after he was laid off as a corporate chef. Now, whenever he sees a customer who could use a pick-me-up, he offers them ice cream on the house. Last year, a woman saw him serving up a free scoop to a child who didn't have any money. And she was so inspired by it that she showed up with $100, enough to buy about 28 scoops for kids less fortunate. Foreman shared this story on social media, and with that, the ice cream fund took off. With the extra cash, Foreman has been able to give away hundreds of cones to people in his neighborhood. He also hosts free movie nights, storybook readings for kids, clothing drives, and more. All right, we'll be back tomorrow with our special edition Saturday episode. Then join us again Monday for your next news roundup. For now, thank you so much for listening and for sharing the show, and have a great weekend.